welcome back to the Central Valley Buzz, everybody. I'm your host, Chuck Leonard. How you doing? Yeah, all right. Hey, sitting here with me now, good friend of the show, Mr. Michael Bogart. How's it going, bud? How are you?
Good, real good.
How was your 4th of July? Did you do anything exciting?
Actually, this is the first year in many years where it was a very quiet 4th of July.
It was quiet in your neighborhood?
Well, we live up at Yosemite Lake, so it was real quiet up there.
There was a fire up there. What was?
About a week ago, yeah.
Yesterday.
Oh, was there really? Yeah. I didn't hear about that. Yeah, but it was quiet where we were.
Yeah, good. Okay, what's your subject today, Mr. Christian man?
Well, I have been reflecting for the last 10 days or so on this Brexit thing. You've probably been hearing about that.
You know what? I hear about it, but I didn't really listen.
Well, okay, so Brexit is the British exit out of the European Union. You know, I was a 52 to 48 margin or something like that to leave the
Why
European
do they want to
Union.
leave?
Well, and I think, I don't know, not being British myself, but what I get is they were very frustrated about the rules that come down from, Brussels, which is the headquarters of the European Union, forcing British people to do things the way that the leaders want them done. Also immigration, this, waves of immigration coming out of Syria that they're pretty much mandated to take. I think a lot of that was behind what the frustration was all about.
So is this like California bailing out of the United States?
It would be equivalent to a state of the union seceding from the union, which has been tried unsuccessfully before, as you well remember.
What kind of effects is this going to have on the world?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a political
analyst. What's it had so
far? Well, the
Nothing.
stock market has, been fluctuating. I don't honestly know what that's all about. What I wanted to talk about was what I'm getting as sort of a reflection on that event, along with some of the things happening in our own electoral process right now, is the level of cynicism that people are experiencing in terms of politics, in terms of religion, in terms of all sorts of things.
Well, it's easy to have cynicism because all you're doing is talking through a keyboard anymore, right?
Well, yeah,
the internet allows you to be that way. Right,
and it's easy to be an armchair expert on the internet and to be cynical and to pretend you know a lot about things when maybe you don't. And I guess what I'm really struggling with myself is I believe Christianity is a message, basically at its core is a message of hope. It's a message that transcends whatever cynicism or depression or disaster is going on in the world at the time, and it gives a message of hope that people can actually live a positive life with.
Well, then we have all these atheists and non-believers, and are those the cynical ones you're talking about?
Well, I don't want to characterize that group as being particularly cynical, but they seem to be cynical towards religion, perhaps, maybe, but I think cynicism is just pervasive in our culture. I think we Americans are becoming more and more cynical as a people.
Instead of having hope?
I think so, and I think if we Christians are smart, we will play the hope suit to our
Isn't that what
message.
You guys have been playing forever?
No.
Isn't it based on that?
Well, you would think so, but it seems to me that much of what we've been doing, at least in my memory, which isn't very long, is that we've been playing the card of being persnickety about things, being superior about things, when really we should be humble and hopeful. And that I think is the message that we need to bring into the 21st century.
Humble and hopeful.
Well, among other things,
Can I say that I don't see that happening?
Well,
I think cynicism is going to get bigger.
And you may be right, but Jesus called us to be salt and light in our society. And that's what I think myself, and I would like to encourage other Christians to be, is salt and light in a world that needs it so desperately.
I think that sometimes when you're on, and you've been coming on for years now, I think that maybe there's people out there going, well, hold on now. I'm a non-believer, but I think I'm a pretty righteous person. I think I'm a good person. I don't think I'm real cynical. I don't think I need the Christianity.
Well, and of course, what's my opinion anyway? I'm just a person. But what the Bible says is that whether people know it or not, they really are built for relationship with God. I mean, I think St. Augustine said that all of us have a God-shaped vacuum inside us that can't be filled by anything but God.
St. Augustine said that we have a vacuum inside of us?
He said that. He said that a long time ago.
Well, wait a minute. Isn't he from the 18th century?
He's from the 4th century.
Okay, that's a lot longer.
It's when the Roman
how long have these vacuums been around?
Not that kind of vacuum, guys.
Oh.
Different kind of vacuum. But he said that when the Roman Empire was collapsing in the West. So, I mean, I think that's a pretty hopeful statement. It really is.
You probably need some hope about that.
Well,
point, right?
There were a lot of. He wrote a whole book called The City of God to give people hope in a time when the empire was breaking down.
Have you read that book?
I read parts of the book. The book is like that thick. You know?
Well, get on it, Mike. Hey,
I have a few other things on my list, my friend.
That's a whole other show.
Yeah, right.
This is Michael Bogart. He's here with me every Wednesday. MindCuisine.com. Tell them what they can find on your website.
Well, Mind Cuisine will point you to a product page where I have 5 books. Among them, the one that I always am pushing is the 45-Minute Bible. And then there's one that I wrote called Understanding Islam, which is written from a fairly neutral academic perspective. Then there's one on the Mormons, there's one on the Jehovah's Witnesses, and there's one on the New Age movement.
And we always talk about what people say when they read these books. I don't know if I've ever asked you, if you have an Islamic person read that book?
I have had Muslim people look at it. I've also had a Coptic Christian critique it. Basically, I did that for my own safety before I published it so that I wouldn't get myself killed.
Do we have time to find out what the hell Coptic means?
Well, you know what? You can ask somebody else who knows a lot more about it than I do in just a minute or so, if you'd like.
Oh, okay.
Coptic Christians are a significant minority in Egyptian society. That's what I know about it.
Okay. Michael Bogart here with me every Wednesday. Always good to talk to you, but
always
thanks
good
for
to talk
coming
to
by.
you.
Hey, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. Stick around.